everyone, this is Jeff Glass with Alpha Media Group. Today I'm with Tina Nail from Nailed It Business Services, located out in Pennsylvania, Shamokin, if I'm saying it correctly. And I know
Close, but
she's probably
Shamokin.
good. Shamokin. So I will get it down. I like the name. I just have to practice it. So today we're going to talk about maintenance businesses, primarily junk removal. We're going to be talking about bookkeeping and entrepreneurship. But I wanted to start out with Tina, just hearing a little bit about your backstory. How did you get into your line of work? And we've had many conversations about your business. You've provided wonderful services for us. I can't recommend you enough. But I would love everyone to be able to hear really how you got to this point and started your business. And so give us a little bit of a backstory about Tina Nail and Nailed It Business Services.
Okay. Well, first, thank you very much for having me, Jeff. It's great to be chatting with you. And like you said, we've had lots of conversations. So I appreciate this opportunity as well. How did I get started? Well, I started much like most of my clients. In 1990, I opened my first business, thinking that if I knew how to balance a checkbook, I knew how to manage a business, and I couldn't have been further from the truth. Fortunately, that business was, not too difficult. I figured it out. And then in 2000, my family and I purchased a campground, which was on a whole nother level when it came to bookkeeping. Because not only were we just, we weren't just renting sites and money in, money out. We were taking security deposits. We were running a retail operation. We were, paying employees and all that kind of stuff. And it was learning on the fly. There was a lot of nights of tears and screaming at the computer and a lot of money spent with to pay others to fix my mistakes. So, we did that for 12 years and I learned everything along the way. I, went and took classes and, online learning wasn't quite as abundant then as it is now. So, I spent lots of money to go sit in a classroom and, for a whole day and learn things and learned from my accountant. Fortunately, we hooked up with a good accountant about midway through owning the business and he was willing to teach me. And we're still good friends today. He still does my parents' taxes. So I thought it best to leave those alone from my, instead of me doing it for him, for sake of family peace. But anyway, so, just like everybody else, I've learned through the trials and the struggles and the errors. And then when we sold our campground in 2012, I really enjoyed the campground because I got to work outside as much as I got to work inside. But unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of need for a 5-foot, 245-pound female backhoe operator in this area. So I fell back on on my next best skill, which was bookkeeping, and I started doing it for other businesses. And then in 2017, I got laid off. And that's when I decided, I always knew I wanted to have another business of my own. And that was when I decided that I wanted to help other business owners just kind of avoid all that heartache and struggle and late nights and teach them what I've learned over the years. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's how Nailed It Business Services came to be. And I just kind of fell into the junk removal niche and I love it. I absolutely love the service industry, or as you call it, the blue collar nation. I've always, I just love that. So
I think you provide a very valuable service. I think it's one of those things that we don't think about, but we need. And to compare it to something like running water or flipping lights on for electricity, it's something maybe in a sense not taking for granted, but just maybe not give it as much attention there because it's not banging down your phone like a customer, or you're banging down your door, calling on your phone like a customer. It's not grabbing your attention on a daily basis, but it's something that's so necessary, like a household item. Like, we go into the shower and we flip on the shower expecting the water's going to work. we need to make sure our books are running, but not all of us, to draw a parallel, are plumbers. So we're not going to be able to fix the shower. We're also not going to be able to do our own books. So what is it that you found that keep people from taking that as a serious step in their business? And what do you do to educate them on why it's so important to keep that system running correctly within their company?
I think one of the biggest hurdles people have to overcome when they get into business, as far as making bookkeeping a priority, is, there's a couple of things, but I mean, first off, you got into business to do junk removal or be a plumber. You didn't get into business to manage your books. And a lot of people, again, think like I did, well, it's cash in, cash out. It's that simple.
Right.
But it's not, so that's one of the hurdles that, that's not what you want to do. Just like when I started this business as a bookkeeper, I didn't want to be doing videos and writing blog posts and, social media and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But, we all come to learn, or hopefully if we're going to succeed, come to learn that even though we don't like doing these things, either we have to do them or we have to hire somebody to do them if we're going to survive and thrive. So, that's kind of the first hurdle. And then the second is just people don't have time. I understand that when I had my campground, my to-do list was never ending. I was running, a small city, and, I had 100 things to do that were more important to my customers and more important to making money than managing my books, But the fact is, your cash, your finances, that's the lifeblood of your business. If, like you said, if that's not flowing, you're not working, you're out of business. So at some point, you've got to accept that it's a necessary evil, in some people's eyes. And again, either learn to do it yourself or have somebody, do it for you. And so what I like to do, if, the stepping stone for new businesses, I love getting new businesses because I'm getting in there right when they're getting started. I'm getting them set up properly so that they're starting on solid foundation with their finances. And I'm getting the opportunity to train them how to do it right from the get-go. So that's my favorite part of the business is working with brand new businesses. And then, when I get involved with other businesses or established businesses, I like, I do trainings, trying to get them on QuickBooks or another accounting software, if they're already there, at least to train them on the basics of bookkeeping. So it doesn't take them as long.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But I think training and awareness, not only of the basics, but understanding their financials. I think that's the key element of what I do is education.
Got it. I parallel it too for me and my experience, like having my insurance agent. So I have State Farm as my insurance company, and I don't understand everything that's in the insurance policy. Truthfully, it bores me. I'm not going to read every single line. But I trust, Greg, and I trust now Teresa. I trust the folks that have been in charge of my accounts. And that's such a big part. And what I found working with you and getting feedback from people that have interacted with you, people that have worked with you, is the gap from just meeting you to trusting is a very short path compared to, I think, maybe the average person in your business. You build that trust with folks right away and you earn it. You understand that you have to earn it with each person. It's not a given. It's like I with my employees or with my children, I can't assume respect. I have to earn it. Right. And I wanted to echo that brand back to you. What you've been putting out there is you've done an incredible job on building trust with folks. And I think putting your blog and things that we've talked about and putting your information out there, it's a drip method, but it starts letting people see who you are, because we are trusting you with something that's very important. We're trusting you with a lifeline for our business.
Right.
That's a big deal. There's liability with that. And perhaps someone has come to you. I think you've told me a story where someone is maybe questioning the existing bookkeeper or CPA office that they're with, and you've been able to help people navigate through that pretty seamlessly. So I don't see you as just a bookkeeper. I see you as a bookkeeping coach, because when people have come to you, they're sometimes a brand new business, but sometimes they're an existing business that have had issues with either their books, or they've had issues with an authority or someone who is supposed to be that authority or servant helping them with their book. So give me an example of how you've helped navigate through a situation like that, somebody that's had an issue in an existing company.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest hurdles or one of the biggest issues I've seen with multiple companies is they are thinking that their accountant is in there making sure everything is working properly and being done properly. But unless you're paying them for that specifically, they're not. So they're basically taking the numbers you give them and they're transferring them onto the right tax or lines of the tax return. And that's all you're paying them for. That's all you're getting. So that's a big misconception. And so people have been under that belief, have kind of had problems snowball over the years. And so when I've come into existing businesses that thought that everything was fine and dandy because their accountant never said anything, I get to kind of educate them that, look, this is what you're paying them for. That's what you're getting. And these are some of the problems that I've seen. And I think by educating them on the basics, whether they continue working with me or they go to work with somebody else, they are then aware of what things should look like, what some warning signs are, what their account is actually doing for them and what they're not doing for them, so that they're able to stay on top of things. And then I guess most recently, I started working with a new client who had paid somebody from, let's just say, a popular website where you can get things done really, really cheap. And it's usually one of those, you get what you pay for situations. And he unfortunately got what he paid for. And so they went in and they just made changes to his books with no rhyme or reason, but just to make it balance out. So that was a hard lesson for him to learn. And, he saw that I was asking questions as to, well, what is what should the balance be? And why is this way? And who did that go to? So that he kind of got an idea of the difference of working with somebody who's really interested in making sure your books are accurate versus making somebody that's going to make sure that your books balance. There is a difference.
Right. Right. And your experience in dealing with the junk removal industry, people that get into that type of business, and I have a background. I've owned maintenance companies, as you know. I've even owned 2 different junk removal companies, but I've also dealt a lot with entrepreneurs, and we're a rebellious bunch at times, as you may know. And some people get into entrepreneurship for the wrong reasons because, and I get what they're saying. They're saying, well, I want to be my own boss, but it doesn't mean that you don't have bosses when it comes to business. We have different authorities we need to report to. And I can see your position kind of maybe helping someone educate them on, look, this is a have to, but if you do it on the preventative side, it's a less daunting task. Basically, hey, do you want to be out in front of the disease, or do you want to get medication when the disease hits? Right. And those are the 2 different things I think people are up against, because you are accountable when you get your business license, when you get your TIN, EIN number. You help me out with what all that stuff really means. And so, but when we go and get all these, basically letting everybody know, hey, we're in business, we're here to do work and make money, then we are inviting authorities to hold us accountable. And I think that's such an important piece, is that when we go out there and we make money, it's an eye-opening thing when you sometimes go from employee to entrepreneur. And I was wondering if you've dealt with that group, people that have gone from being an employee to now that they're starting their own business. And sometimes there's that awakening, that transition, like, wow, I guess my boss wasn't pocketing all the money, or maybe he was and he shouldn't be in business, or he's not in business, or she is anymore. But my point is that you really learn, like, hey, I don't get to keep all of it, and we have certain principles in our family. So my wife, she really focuses on, okay, where are we going to tithe this month? What are we going to set aside for taxes? And I think that if people have the mindset of more of a long-term look, you're setting up a business to stay in business for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen people that have come in maybe still with that, either A, they have that employee mindset of, well, more transition, like, hey, now I'm a business owner and I kind of learned it the hard way. That now I have to be an adult, so to speak. Not that I wasn't an adult as an employee, but now I have a different level of responsibilities. What have you found that your role is helping somebody transition into being that responsible business owner? How do you position yourself?
Oh, I think the fact that I've been exactly where they are helps. I'm speaking from a place of experience, not just a place of, hey, I learned this in a classroom somewhere. So I've got a particular client who he's a wonderful young man, and he's just on the cusp of being an adult, but so he's worked in the industry as an employee for some time. He went and he got his degree. He's not in junk removal. He is one of my few that's in a different service industry, and he went and got his degree and then said, you know what, now that I've got that, I'm going to do this on my own. And for the first year, he struggled to try and figure it out himself. And when he came to me, he realized, I'm like, well, do you have this in place? Do you have that in place? And, and he's like, no, did I need those things? So, like you said, people don't see the other side as an employee, and they think it's all just sitting back and collecting the cash. We used to get that all the time at the campground. Oh, you're just sitting around the campfire watching the money roll in. No. You've got insurance, and you've got taxes, and you've got licenses and all sorts of different other responsibilities that you have to pay out. So it's been nice helping him get all that organized, because he's a great guy and he really wants to do it right. Mm-hmm. Which I love. Some people aren't always in that state of mind. So those types of people I don't tend to end up working with long. But he is really gung-ho about, I want to do this right and make sure I'm on the up and up. And so he's been a great student. We spend probably a couple of hours a month on the phone, just teaching him about different, does he have this insurance and why do you need that? And how to do some of the different things with his books and reading his reports. And now we're just getting to the point where he's bringing on his first employee. So we work together to get all of his tax IDs, and Pennsylvania has all these other things that you have to get besides just unemployment and withholding. So he's getting a real education there. So it's been great just kind of watching him come from this wide-eyed, he's like 22 years old, so like I said, just an adult, this wide-eyed 22-year-old, I guess at the time he was 20, just turned 21 when I met him. But he's really matured, not only personally, but in his business, and he sees how it's serving him well by having everything in place and being completely legit and above board. He's seeing that it gives him a foothold, a step above some of the competition that's just kind of slapped a sign on their trucks and said, hey, we do this. He's able to be out there and say, well, yeah, I'm insured, I'm bonded, I've got this, I've done this training, and where they can't. So it's been really fun watching him.
It sounds like you've given him peace of mind. And I learned at a very young age, it's one of the best investments you can make is to have peace of mind. And for many of us, it comes in different forms. And I think it's a rare balance as entrepreneurs, because we still have to balance risk. we're in risk every day.
Mhm.
So we realize that we're not going to be comforted in the sense of like, okay, we've done everything right and dotted every I and crossed every T, because everywhere you go, there could be something that's going to trip you up or try and trip you up. But I think in the areas you can control, like having your books in order, making sure you have a viable business. And one thing that, and again, you're in a much better professional position than I am on this, but I'm more on the visionary side. How do you build? How do you network? How do you build a brand? But my ideal client is someone that, much like yours, I think, like, what if they want to sell their business someday? What if they have to relocate? And now you're building an asset rather than just sort of
The
a
job.
paycheck. Yeah, a
Yeah,
job, right? You replace one job for the other. And like
exactly.
the cliched phrase says, entrepreneurs are fortunate. They only have to work, half days. The other 12 hours, they can do whatever they want, right? So,
Yeah.
so so I think just creating a job for yourself. So I sometimes have to come back and get people back to center and say, okay, well, why did you get into this? You got into this to build a brand long term. Well, I want to go get work right now. Well, I think you and I have a similar position where we have to break through that mindset without breaking the person. Hey, I don't want to kill your ambition. I understand that you want to be out there building something, but let's build it structurally together. And
Absolutely.
and I think sometimes when people are such in fifth gear, like, okay, I want to build this business, I want to get it going, is we don't want to put them in reverse or neutral, but maybe we got to bring them back to third gear and say, okay, let's build this over time. Let's not just run out and try to grab everything that we can. Let's not hire every person. Let's not add on every truck. Let's build something that's sustainable, right? And I
Mhm.
think that's where you and I are in very, very similar businesses. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, give us a way to get in contact with you. And what is something that you can offer when they get in touch with you? So give us some digits, give us a website so we can find you.
Okay. I just want to kind of expound on what you were just saying, though, if we
Sure.
have a couple of extra minutes.
Oh, yeah, we
You
got a
know,
few more minutes.
you were talking about, kind of reining people in. As entrepreneurs, we can sometimes get this tunnel vision where we want to go from point A to point B, and this is the route we're taking. And we forget, like you said, there's always something out there to trip us up. I recently spoke to a gentleman who is building a junk removal business, doing very well. And we were talking about an exit strategy. And he's like, well, my kids are going to take over my job, take over my business. I'm like, well, how old are your kids? And he's like, well, one's 12 and one's 9 or something like that. I'm like, okay, I applaud what you're wanting to do. It would be great if they want to take over your business. But what if they don't?
Right.
What's your plan B? And are you positioning yourself to follow up with plan B? It's great to have that aspiration, but you've got to look and plan for, extra contingencies. Like you said, plan A didn't work. What's plan B? What's plan C? And so, that you're ready for any number of obstacles that get thrown in your way. So, and
Very
of course,
good.
I know that one because we thought my daughter was going to take over the campground and she wanted nothing to do with it. So,
Oh boy.
so anyway, you can reach me. Of course, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. Otherwise, my email address is tnail@naileditbusinessservices.com. Yes, I know it's a mouthful and I'm sorry. My phone number is 570-452-1493. I'm located on the East Coast, so in Eastern Standard Time, but I do work with companies across nationwide. So I'm used to working with and adjusting for the time zone differences. Don't let that deter you. And then as far as what I can do, I always offer free consultations. But, if somebody wants to mention this particular video, I'd be willing to do a free review of their books, just to kind of say, hey, these are some of the areas that I have concerns with, and, let them decide what to do with that information. But, we can throw that out there for anybody who comes to us via this video.
Great. And we'll drop the link to your website below and they can mention this video. And I want to give a shout and recommendation on our experience working with you, like I talked to you about in the beginning. But you've really helped our business because we work with blue collar clients and we couldn't have chose a better person to really help get some things in order as far as how do we address, you and I had the same experience, the type of client avatar, which is blue collar, junk removal. We work with carpet cleaning, we work with different types of industries, but the importance of having someone like you out there as a resource that is niche, that can answer some very specific questions rather than just bookkeeping, because there's so much out there and it's confusing to a lot of us because we don't know. But thankful for you that we don't have to know everything. We just have to know your number and how to get in touch with you and know that we have a resource. So thank you, Tina. Thank you for taking time with me. I hope we get to do more of these in the future. So
awesome. Thank you. And thank you for everything you've taught me. You are definitely an asset to the industry as well, or to the blue collar nation, I guess we should say.
That's right. Well, thank you very much. We'll talk very soon. Take care.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. Take care.
Bye-bye.